Well, welcome everybody to today's webinar hosted by Latera. Today we'll be discussing our CAM solution for Microsoft 365 and showing you the capabilities that CAM can deliver to disrupt chaos and deliver order, to enable end users the ability to safely and effectively use Microsoft Teams for legal work. A quick note on confidentiality: this presentation is confidential. It should not be distributed or reproduced. You'll receive a recording of this webinar, but we're asking that you please not share this with anyone outside of your firm. My name is George Marshall. I'm the manager of governance sales for North America here at Latera. I'll be taking you through an introduction of the solution and then handing it off to Brett Thompson, who is our sales engineer for Latera Governance, who will walk you through a demonstration of the solution. I'll start here with some housekeeping rules for the webinar, then discuss some of the challenges that we know that firms are facing when it comes to collaboration from both an end user and administrative point of view. I'll be discussing some of the inherent challenges with governing Microsoft Teams for legal work, discuss how CAM addresses those concerns before passing it off to Brett. In terms of housekeeping, this webinar is scheduled for 30 minutes, so all attendees will be muted. If there are any questions, you can feel free to drop those in the chat. We'll respond there. For any questions that we cannot get to right away, I'll email you directly after the webinar. If there are any other questions that you can't post, please feel free to reach out to me at george.marshall@latera.com. Now, as we dive into today's topic, we want to start with addressing the challenges firms are facing, specifically around application management. This can present some challenges to consistent data handling. And we know from our discussions with customers that data management challenges mean delays, inefficiencies, gaps in access management controls, IT bottlenecks, and risks of data breaches. Regarding Microsoft Teams specifically, it is universally designed, caters to a broad audience. We use it here at Latera, but when it comes to legal work, what we've heard is that there's a gap. Data governance in Teams has room for improvement, and many firms are not able to do things like enforce ethical walls in Teams. We know that some firms really want to promote user adoption, so they have end user creation of Teams turned on, but this can lead to a lack of visibility and control over what's out there. Teams also doesn't collect any client matter metadata that many firms rely on, and there are a lot of manual processes around creating and managing a team throughout the matter lifecycle, and it's only getting harder in some firms as user adoption continues to grow. At its core, CAM is a single solution for enabling firms to manage, govern, orchestrate, and protect the data and people across the systems that lawyers are accessing documents from every day. So with clear visibility across these platforms, with access management capabilities and controls to ensure applications are being used according to firm standards, CAM is really one of those rare solutions that can not only promote governance, but also promotes and doesn't really sacrifice user adoption. What CAM is offering is a holistic approach to managing the entire team's lifecycle, from provisioning to archiving. As I said, we know many firms want to deploy Teams, but there are questions, and we know that there are gaps that you might need to answer first. In terms of some of the specifics, what CAM offers is the ability to easily provision matter-centric teams by reading from time and billing and automatically applying client and matter metadata to teams. Now, we know that not every matter is necessarily going to require a team, especially early in adoption, right? So what we offer there is a very simple request workflow that end users initiate, where CAM administrators can review the request and approve it. CAM will start the provisioning job without the administrator ever having to go into Microsoft Teams and manually create Teams that are created by CAM have predefined channel and tab structures that firm can set as part of their team's design process. These templates will provide consistent, repeatable structures to help promote adoption without requiring expensive manual configuration every time a team needs to be created, similar to what CAM can provide for iManager Net Documents workspace provisioning. CAM also aligns access management controls with the firm's policies for all automated through integrations with Active Directory, time and billing, and ethical wall solutions such as Intap and SPM. CAM will help create more of a need-to-know structure of teams to ensure compliance, and also make sure that you're giving your customers assurances that their data is being stored correctly, whether it's in the DMS or whether it's in 365. CAM also promotes collaboration and co-authoring securely by integrating with the DMS to enforce document residency rules according to the firm standards. We know through our conversations with customers, some firms take very different approaches to this topic. And even when talking to multiple stakeholders within a firm, there might be wildly contradictory beliefs on where documents should live, whether it's only in the DMS, whether it's sometimes 365. But CAM can enforce whatever requirements the firm has, and you're not locked in. You can make changes as those requirements evolve. CAM can also provision, not just provision and manage internal users, but external users as well, to help promote co-authoring and collaboration with clients and third parties securely. One of the things that CAM offers here is the ability to provision private channels as part of a template to automatically exclude external users from any information that maybe they should not have access to. We'll send over, as I mentioned, the recording of this webinar with a white paper called Empower Your Law Firm with CAM for Microsoft Teams. If anybody would like a copy of that now, please follow the QR code here. Currently, we have about 160 customers on our CAM platform, many of which are using CAM today to manage and govern their Microsoft 365 environments. Additionally, we have some testimonials from happy customers, as well as a network of implementation partners that are extremely knowledgeable, extremely skilled on the implementation and getting the most out of CAM. Finally, if anybody would like a personalized demo, please feel free to follow this QR code, and it'll take you to a landing page to request a demo from someone from my team.
Okay. Thanks so much, George. So now we're going to jump into the demo of CAM. But before we do that, what I'd like to do is start off in Microsoft Teams. So what you're looking at here is Microsoft Teams in an environment. I'm logged in as a regular user, so I can see all of my teams are represented over here on the left. And the first thing I like to point out, and this is what really goes to really speaks to user adoption. If you look over on the left here, all of my teams have a consistent naming convention. So in this case, I'm using the naming convention of client ID, matter ID, and matter name. This makes it easier for if people are jumping back and forth between teams to identify the team, to be able to access it. And then beyond that, you can also see that if I look in the team here, I have predefined channels. So I'm able to predetermine these channels based on a template. I can set up the channels in the order in which I want them. Beyond channels, I can also set different tabs. So you really have a lot of control over how you can configure your teams to make it easier for users to go back and forth, know where to put documents, also know where they can find all the information that they need. So if we look at a specific team here, we'll take for example, this matter right here, which is BAT Global versus the City of Buffalo. You can see I've got my channels here. If I click on the admin channel, you'll see I have my series of tabs across the top here, which are all configurable via a template, which we'll take a look at momentarily. But I can do, if you have users and they want to spend all of their time in Teams, meaning they want to start their day here, do all of their work throughout the day right from here, you can empower them to do that. One example of that is accessing iManage. So let's say you have a user who does a lot of work in iManage, they also love Teams. What you're able to do is configure iManage to be accessible through Teams. So a user can click on the iManage tab, get right into iManage, and they can navigate as though they were, they're really in iManage. It's surfacing through an iframe, but they can come in here, get to their documents, check documents out, do what they would need to do right in Teams versus having to go outside of Teams and then come back in to do something else. In addition to that, if I jump into another channel here, any other channels that you wanted to surface. For example, if you're working on, an e-discovery matter, you could have a link to the e-discovery portal here. If you have a reference guide, welcome to the firm, or practice-specific information, you can surface that here via a tab as well. So you can see, you can put really anything you want to, you can configure up here at the tab panel. Now, one of the things George mentioned in the presentation is the rolling out of teams and the burden on IT to get a phone call every couple hours. Hey, I need a team. You need this. Here's what we need. What we've done at Latera is we've built what we call the Cam for Teams app, which is right here. It's available in the Microsoft Store. And what it is, it's an application that if I click on this, it's going to present me with a little overlay of teams. And once this loads, you'll see all of my teams are still available here. If there's a little bit of user functionality here, which some users really enjoy, and that's the ability to, I can kind of sort my matters by matter of clients, which you can't do in native teams. And I can also come over here and filter by team. So I can search for a particular client or a particular matter. But most importantly, what I can do from here is, as an end user, I can request a new team. And to do that is what I would do is come over here and click on request a new team. And that's going to kick off what we call a workflow. And this workflow is completely configurable by you, meaning by administration. So every choice that I'm going to have to make here, everything that's here is completely controlled and customizable to meet your specifications. So another thing George mentioned in the intro deck is that most firms right now are operating under the guide that most matters require a workspace. They don't all require a team. So the way that this workflow is designed is that there's already an existing workspace, and now we're creating a team to correspond with that workspace. So what I'm going to do is just select a client here, and then select a matter. Once I've made those selections, I can now look down here and I can select a template. But again, this is something you can select. It could be available as a choice, or it could just be set by default, so there is no choice here. But if I select this template, it will give me a little preview of what the channels will look like. It'll show me what my team is going to be named. And again, we're going to use the naming convention of client ID, matter ID, and then matter name. And then you'll notice right here, it's going to say copy to. Now what this is doing, this is what's creating that link between the workspace and the team. This is where I'm setting up that automatic archiving of the team, all the information, all the posts, all the files, if you're using Microsoft Planner or OneNote, all of that information is going to be linked to the workspace and backed up into the workspace. So if and when this team is no longer needed, you can dispose of the team knowing that all of the information that was in that team resides in the DMS, which will be our system of record. So I'll click on next here. You have the ability to create a private team. You can add security here. So you could add explicit security, which would just be adding an end user, and that could be somebody from within the firm. Now, you see up here, there's a little dot here to invite guest users. If this is available, and this is a setting that would have to be available in MS365, but if that's the case, you'd be able to invite a guest user by checking that off, adding in the email address and the name, and then that user would be able to access the channel that you wish to give them access to. You can also, as George mentioned, we have what we call project teams. And what that allows you to do is build out specific team roles. So you can have a team administrator, you can have a team worker, somebody that has roles based on just the information they need in order to do their job effectively. I'm going to click on next here. And this is going to give me a review of everything that I'm requesting. You can see this is all the information that I just submitted in the form previously. And next, when I hit next here, you're going to say that this workspace requires approval. Now, this is not a requirement. You could have it allowing creation without approval or with approval. If I click submit right here, what's going to happen is whomever I've designated as the approver for this will get a notification that this user is requesting a workspace, or excuse me, a team. It'll show all the parameters that they put in, the questions that they answered. If the approver hits approve, then the job would be kicked off and the team would be created. If this does not require approval and I click submit, the job would be kicked off and the team would be created. So I'm just going to click submit here. And now that submission is in progress. This is just because I selected a sample workspace, but that request is coming out right now to go to the approver to approve that workspace and say whether or not the system should go ahead and create it. So that's what a team looks like. Now what we'll do is we'll jump into CAM and show you how we can get to this point. So I'm going to jump over here. This is CAM, and I'm here at the directory tab. You can see these are the current matters that I'm dealing with. What I wanted to do here is we'll take a look at the same matter. This is the same matter that we were just looking at in Teams. It's the BAT Global versus City of Buffalo. And if I look over here, you can see I can see what systems are part of this matter. So you can see I have 3 components. I've got a team, I've got a file share, and I've got a workspace. One of the really powerful things about CAM is the ability to manage a matter as a whole. And by that, what I mean is if I click into the matter, you can see I've got my 3 components here. I've got my file share, my workspace, and my team. If I need to make any adjustments here, so let's say I need to add a user to the entire matter, what I can do is come over here, click on security, and this is going to bring up my project team, which I could add to. Or if I jump over here and look at my explicit security, this is showing me who currently has access and what level of access they have and to what systems they have access. So if I needed to make an adjustment here, let's say Mr. Simmons was only here for a little while and we no longer needed him to access the file share. What I could do is come over here and click on edit, find Mr. Simmons here, click on file shares, click on update, and now you'll see that once this update goes through, Mr. Simmons can no longer access the file share. If I needed to add a new user to this matter, a brand new user, what I can do is come over here to add. I can add a user or a group. For this instance, I'm just going to add a user, and I'll select Mr. Matthew Dowd. Give that user permission of allow. Anytime I add a user to CAM, I have to give that user a role, and I'll give this user the role of editor. And down here is where I can decide what parts of the matter do I want this user to have access to. So in this example, I'm just going to select apply to all. So what I'm asking it is for Mr. Dowd to have access to all systems. Once I've selected that, I just click on save. And you'll see I received an error there. That I was unable to add this user. And the reason for that is I have a security policy in place. It's an exclusionary policy, and it's saying that Matthew Dowd cannot be added to any matters involving the client BAT Global. And you can see that policy was able to cover not just the workspace, but it was able to cover the team and the file share as well. And if I had any other components here, like a SharePoint site or anything that fell under the CAM umbrella, you'd be able to extend that policy to cover that as well as the other components that I just showed you. So jumping back to the directory tab here, what we mentioned, if you recall, when we created the team, we set up that the backup to the workspace. So what I can do here to further that is if I come over here to the team and I click on copy, this is where I can set up that I can make some further decisions on how I want that archiving process to work. So here you can see it's copying into this workspace. I can't go to any other workspace, only into there. I can set up how sync options, like I can set up how often do I want this to happen. If this were a matter that was over, I may only want to do a one-time sync that would ensure that everything gets into the DMS, and then I could get rid of everything in the team. Or if it were a new matter or a matter that was going to continue for a significant period of time, I could do a scheduled sync. And I could say, okay, I want this sync to run once every day. And that would mean, we'll start that today. And that would mean once a day, anything that's in Teams, any new chats or posts, any new files, any tasks that are assigned in Microsoft Planner, any added changes to OneNote, all of that information is going to be backed up into the DMS. You do have the option to bring the post files. If you bring the post files and you want to archive them, they are brought in as HTML files, which means they keep the formatting with the conversation bubbles and they're very easy to read. You have the ability to sync documents, and what that means is, if let's say you had a matter where you knew the team relied heavily on, or was a heavy Teams user, and they weren't really going to be using iManage that much, what you could do is keep the documents themselves in Teams and just have a shortcut of it to the documents in iManage, and then when the matter's over, you could just replace the shortcuts with the documents themselves. By default, the name of the folder that's going to archive the team is just going to be the workspace name with an underscore teams, but you can name this whatever you like. So you can name this, archive or anything you want. It doesn't have to be this. This is just the default. So once I'd hit submit there, that would set up this content sync, and now data would be copied up. Anything that goes into the team would be backed up into the DMS. Now, we've talked about how to create a team, how an end user can create a team, what a team looks like, and how we can get to that is what I want to show next. And that's what we use templates for. So if I jump over here to administration and jump down here into our template editor, on the left here, you'll see these are all of my templates. And once it loads up here, I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to filter out for my Office 365 templates. And this is a list of all the templates I'm using to create teams and or SharePoint sites. So the template that we use to create the teams that I was showing you in Teams is this right here, this MS Teams Litigation and Dispute Resolution. If I expand that, you'll see I've got my teams here. These are my individual channels. Now you'll notice by each channel, I have a little thing here indicating that the security is public. If I wanted to restrict security or add security to an individual channel, what I can do is click on a channel. And you see when I do that, I get a series of tabs across the top here. So I could come over here under security and I could say, okay, these are currently the users that can access the administration channel. If I want to add a new member there, I could do that from right here. Let's say I want to add myself. You can add a user from here, give that user a role, and that information will be applied to the folder, to the channel. What we looked at within the channels are the tabs. So this is where we create the tabs. So here we've got just a CRM, which is just a link to Salesforce, but here we've got the iManage login information. And you can see what we're doing with iManage is we're actually passing the workspace parameter. So what that's doing is showcasing the link between the workspace and the team. So the end user, when they click on that iManage tab and log in, it's going to take them right to the corresponding workspace. Now, they will be able to navigate through iManage as though they were, whatever they have, other permissions they have, they can navigate away from that. But on initial login, it's going to go into the team that they want to be added to, or that they're currently working in. If I minimize this and go to the general channel, this is where we have the ability to add, well, you can do this on any channel, but what we've done here is we have some pre-configured OneNotes. So you can create a OneNote with pre-configured sections right here. And then you can also create Microsoft planners. So this is what a planner looks like. It's a lot of JSON code, which you certainly wouldn't have to sit here and write. You can utilize the Microsoft planner. Then you can copy the JSON code, paste it in here. And then when a team is created, that planner is ready to go right out of the gate. So I'll sew that back up here. And now I'm going to really quickly jump into iManage to show you some things that we can do as an end user when it comes to collaboration and using moving documents and data between teams and iManage. So if I jump over here into iManage, again, I'm logged in as the same user. If I go into this workspace, again, we're in the same workspace, BAT Global versus City of Buffalo. If I need to come over here and let's say I want to move a document into the team so everybody can collaborate and work on it that way. What I can do is come over here. Actually, I need to open the folder first, find a document. Now I can come over here and click on check out to teams. And what that's going to do is kick off this little workflow here. And once this pops up, you'll see I have my target right here. I can't go anywhere else. I can only go into a channel on this team. So I want to put this into the, let's see, we'll put it into the billing to field. Click on submit. And now what's happening behind the scenes is this document is being locked in iManage and it's being copied over to the files tab in the channel that I selected. So in this case, it was the billing to channel. So I'll let this will take a second or two to run. And once this completes and we jump over to the team, we will see the document will be there. This takes a little bit longer on my demo system. It's usually a lot faster than that, but now it's done. If I jump over to the team here and go into that billing to folder under the files tab, you'll see that document that I just checked out is here and it's ready to be opened and edited. So any member of this team can now come in here and look at this document, make their edits, and do whatever they need to as they would as if they were in iManage. Is that now one other thing is that once the collaboration process is over, what the end user can do then is come back over into iManage and come over here, and now they can check it in from, or excuse me, check it in from Teams. When they do that, they're again going to get the same workflow. They have the option to check it in as a new version or as a new document. Just click on submit, and now what will happen is the document will be checked back into iManage, and the lock would be removed, and users who had access to to that document would now be able to access it through iManage. There's a couple versions of checking out to Teams that we offer. So if you notice when I do this again, if I come over here, and at first we did what we call check out to Teams. You can also do what we call copy to Teams. Copying to Teams, excuse me, that gives you a few more options. And that's down here with the ways that you're going to sync it. Most significantly, if you wanted to copy a document to Teams and utilize a two-way sync, what that would allow you to do is that would not lock the document in iManage. That would put a copy of the document in the Teams folder that was selected, as well as have the document available in iManage so that the two users could work on it at the same time. Meanwhile, the syncing would happen so all the content, all the edits would be shown on each version and ultimately make its way into iManage or NetDocuments, whatever your DMS may be. And that is that's kind of a quick overview of how we create a team, how we request a team, some of the capabilities once a team is created to show that the integration between Teams and iManage, and how CAM can help you secure your team, how CAM can help you avoid, as the title of this webinar is, avoid that data chaos, both through templating as well as through automatic movement of content. And that's it. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, as George mentioned, please feel free to reach out. Any questions that came up, we will address via a separate email. And if you do want to see a demo, we'd love to show you some more detail, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks, everybody.